okay?
I want to go
I
in there.
got one.
Like that.
For a township to freeze this thing, fill in, we're gonna have all our money go back. Oh, okay, this township.
Now, do I have to pay for that after?
Where did it all go? So you know. I'm not blaming it all on them. It's just really, it's been a disaster.
You can meet the veterinarian. He'll be on time.
Oh, yeah. He's a hell of a guy. You had revenue coming in. You don't have it. My younger years. Huh? Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, because I was building for all gone. And we got the same situation with happening to Larry. Do you know where that used to go? He's a slum landlord, you can care less. True. I think that they should have some encourage businesses to come in, maybe nowhere near that. I give them 15 minutes return.
I just did a 15-minute segment at the beginning in her part.
Right now, they don't have the air. Anyway. Bad, bad. Well, anything, we live in township left, that have trash removal. All the other townships go on. But we get a better deal. And if we did it,
I watched that Lions team.
and it wouldn't be picked up.
That was entertaining. Yeah, the running back Montgomery, he came in the little camp. That's physical shape of the moment. They let him run right down the field with 5 blades.
And that's what happened.
He looked fresh as a daisy. The rest of, LA's defense was just at that point.
No, I didn't send her a copy. I talked to her before I sent it out. Because it's got 3.5 pages for both there. So she missed it. I don't think you have her email.
Gina,
I
waiting
know,
for you.
right?
There's a penalty for that too.
Cost you $300, Steve.
$300 fine, late.
Comfortable? Relax. Take a deep breath. Okay. All right. Take a deep breath.
Can you hear me okay? All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Supervisor Miller.
Right here.
Clerk Triplett here. Trustee Fabdon.
Present.
Trustee King.
Present.
Treasurer Klee.
Present.
Trustee Leverett.
Present.
And Trustee Burt. Present. Thank you.
Let's see, do we have any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? We've got one item, it'll be action item E. Do you want me to read it, Madam Clerk?
Yes, please.
We're going to be asking the board to approve the attorney to assist the clerk, who will review complaints against elected officials and investigate if necessary. That'll be action item E. I don't think there's any other additions. Move on to the correction of the minutes. If you've reviewed the minutes, if there are no corrections, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those stand.
Question.
Yes, please.
I think there's some papers that I think the board should have, maybe should have.
Can you-
Maybe
yes.
should have.
Can you pull that a lot closer, Barb, because
Just
we can't hear you.
Better?
No,
Hello?
no. You have to lift straight up and then pull forward. Lift it higher.
Hello? Hello, hello?
It's a little better. If you lift it up and then pull it towards you. There you go.
Oh, good grief, okay. All right, we didn't, in the last meeting, I don't think the board got a letter from the auditors that was supposed to be in there. If we could maybe get a copy of that for everybody when it's possible, and the information on the, there was one other thing, let's see. It would be, on the corrective action plan. We could have that information when you can and put it in our basket, maybe.
So I know that got sent directly to the trustees. We did have a direct email from you, but does that need to be included in this minutes? The plan itself? Is it there?
It's in there.
Oh, so looking at the minutes here,
The corrective action plan is in there. Not sure if, hold on, let me look at the letters, or the. The audit presentation, the compliance opinion, and the audit document are in, they're not in those minutes?
so
Minutes I've got here.
it states them, but it doesn't have the letter in it.
Oh, it doesn't have it attached to the back?
Unless I'm missing something.
I'll have to figure out why I didn't do that, because I added them, but for,
Okay, thanks.
that's weird that it didn't actually attach it, it just did it as a item. Okay, I'll get them in there for you, sorry about that.
Alrighty, so are there any other corrections to the minutes? No? So we're good with the vote to approve the minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, we move on. Is public comment. If you would like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and state your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board. We can't hear you, Mr. Gibbons. It's not working. You guys can you kind of lean forward toward the,
Or pull it out more. So.
I think you did. Check it, Tom.
Pull this out, Tom. Pull it closer to you.
If you hold this part and pull this part, it comes out as far as it will. It's as far as it will go.
Oh, that's it, okay.
What you had to do with the cord.
You're welcome.
It's not working.
Is it plugged in?
Oh, it's live, see it?
It's on, but it's not coming across.
Can you hear me?
No.
It's not working.
Still getting nothing, right? No? I can move the podium over here. and put my nose up.
You want to just unplug?
Can't you just unplug one of those?
Okay, now I can hear.
Yeah, that's us.
I think it might be the,
Tracy, could you unplug one of those and plug it back in?
That's,
yeah, I'm not sure though if it's the plug or if it's the, well, I guess we'll find out. We'll try that first.
It was on this side. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's the outside.
it's,
I'll try it now.
Nope.
No, I think it's the. Oh, wait. Almost just in one way, so.
I turned it up really loud. No,
It did make it sound no different. Okay.
Yes.
No, let's go. We'll just move the podium, it's easier. Can we reach out?
I'm not sure. Try that maybe. I thought you were needed. I need to. Should reach.
Test. Can you hear me now?
we can.
Hi,
It's Mr. Gibbons.
Tom Gibbons, Flint Township. A couple of weeks ago, my neighbors were doing some house cleaning on Gilbert Street across the street from me. And I noticed, you know, what they put out, a couple of mattresses and a chair. So Tara comes by, and they didn't pick it all up. And the other neighbor had moved a couch out front also. And so I called Tara. I says, they didn't pick everything up because it doesn't look good. I know how the township doesn't want people to have things out there all week long before trash day. And I knew it would be another week. That's the reason I called. And they said, well, we only pick up 2 things a week. I said, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I saw they had left a mattress and the other neighbor's couch out there. So this week I'm eager to see them pick those up. They didn't pick them up. So I called them again. This was on Friday. And they said, well, they didn't know what happened. They would call and see from the driver what happened. But I haven't heard from them. They're still out there. So I just thought I would pass that along. The other thing is, you heard me talking about my neighbors having roosters last fall. And now this year, 3 houses down, they've got a rooster. And I reported that last Monday to code enforcement. But it just baffles me how people think that they can have a rooster or roosters in a township neighborhood when they're not meeting the code last year or this year. You know, they changed, but that's the rules last year and this year. That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Tracy?
My name is Gerald Roberts, live at 4487 Lindywood Drive, Swartz Creek, Michigan. What I'm about to say right now is going to probably tee off a lot of people. But it
Maybe
needs
you
to
might
be
want to
said.
reconsider.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the recent primary. There's a saying, and I think people that went through divorces know this saying, hell hath no fury lest a woman scorn. I'm referring to Miss Lisa Anderson. It is my opinion that reverse discrimination was used against white candidates in this past election. The board has 7 members, 4 votes control the board. Long-standing policy of the separation of church and state has been violated. Lisa Anderson made a special trip from Atlanta, Georgia to address at least 3 black churches prior to the election. In this township, told them how to vote and for certain candidates. This was a plan I call the Lisa Anderson Coalition that existed when she was on this board. Lisa Anderson resigned her position as treasurer in this township only after pressure was brought that she did not have residency in Flint, but in Atlanta, Georgia. This was brought by Mr. Mike Galbraith, an investigative reporter. Lisa subsequently brought a lawsuit for additional money she says she's owed. Lisa was paid for 2 months out of the township fund when she didn't even live in the township. This is a violation of state law. She should be in jail right now. Lisa also violated the COLA law for receiving health care insurance, which is also a felony. Her husband had an operation that cost Blue Cross thousands of dollars. Because of this board, on the last day that she was here or whatever, gave her insurance. I hear Blue Cross, rumor has it that Blue Cross is going to go after her for that. That's a felony. Felony. Ms. Anderson needs 4 votes from this board for her lawsuit, which she's been held accountable for a COLA violation. I would say that Blue Cross is going to have a violation or a lawsuit against her. So you as board members should not approve any additional suits that she has in there for additional funds for those 2 months that she didn't work. In this last election, there was a big turnout with regard to the black vote in this particular township. I don't know what the numbers are, but increasingly, very, very strongly, heavily. Almost took 4 votes. 3 will be controlled on this board, in this new board. There's 3 swing votes. There's 3 votes that I feel are on the other side. Mr. Klee will be that swing vote. Mr. Klee has openly went out with regard to a 40% increase and tried to get it through without a vote of the township. The business community was up in arms. I hear after a last fire department deal that he's still going to come in, maybe through a special election, maybe next year, to try to put that through. If a 40% increase goes across with regard to the residents and also with the business community, and that goes through.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. The
There's gonna
timer's
be
up and your time is over.
very,
Thank
very-
you very much.
Large amounts of small
Roberts.
businesses
Your time's
going out
up.
of business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Yeah, good evening. How y'all doing today? My concern is business.
Your name, please?
Keith
We,
Powers.
Sir, can we get your name, please?
Keith Powers,
Thank
Flint Township. We allow businesses to come in, build, things like that, and do their business. But if we give them tax breaks and that, what good is it to bring business in when we're in the financial situation we are in? Is it worth it to bring in more business, and more business is just compound what we have? We can't get the firemen. The police seem to be doing okay. But whatever problems that we have financially or whatever, Tom's taking care of some. But there seems to be controversy with that too. I just wonder, do we need to keep developing every piece of land we have till there's nothing left, and then we just start knocking down buildings? You know, as we are, the Cinema 10's gonna be gone due to arson. Several others are gonna be gone. You know, I mean, it's a good thing that we take care of it, but we also have to be good stewards of what we have and not just randomly build here and there if it's not benefiting the residents. That's all I got.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board?
Kevin Stiff. I own the dive shop and I'm a resident in the township. I agree with Jerry Roberts. And I was at the last meeting when Plant Moran was here, and there wasn't very many residents in the audience. But I don't think that Plant Moran actually painted a very good picture of our financial. I don't know if any of you sat through anything before the meeting, but they turned around and asked the board if you had any questions, and not a single one of you asked a question. I could have asked them 8 or 10 questions about what they presented, but you all just sat there, blank-faced, without one single question. Nothing. You know, from what I took from what they presented was our township is in trouble. I don't know if that's how you perceived it or not, but I took it as we're in trouble. You know, so I don't know what you guys perceive out of it. You know, now something was just said about the business community. There's approximately 1,000 businesses in the township. We pay over 50% of the taxes. The residents, the rest of the business or the residents, they pay 50% of the taxes. That's a kind of an upside down tax, you know. So when everybody thinks the businesses are getting a better deal, we're not. I don't think that the taxes I pay are fair when it comes to taxes. I think that we pay a hell of a lot of taxes for what the residents pay. You know, the fire department. Every year I donate to the fire department. When one of their SCBA tanks break, how many tanks do I fix every year when you guys bring them down? I fix their gauges. How many times do I charge you guys for them? Not very often do I charge them for them. I send them right back out the door for free. They don't get charged for them, you know? I'd like to see some of the other businesses pick up a few cases of Gatorade and take them on down. Maybe some of the residents, when you're at Walmart, pick up a few cases of a Gatorade and take them on down to the fire department. The guys have nothing, you know? So when everybody's looking at the commercial district, we give a lot to the fire department. I don't know what the police chief sees, what they do. I know that the lady over here if she's in the audience tonight. Her and her husband did the landscaping in front of the police department. So, you know, when people say that we don't give, we do give, you know? Now, I think that the board, you know, needs to give up a little. You know, the police or the fire chief asked for $25,000 to get him through the year. How much do you guys give? Why don't you guys give up half of your pay for the year so that he can get 2 guys the rest of the year paid and make a little more sense? How many hours a year do you guys work?
Thank you, Mr.
These
Stiff.
guys, I see him.
Your time's up. Thank you very
filthy dirty.
much.
He shouldn't do that as a chief.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Dave Huffman, 2483 Warner Road. I just have some comments from the last meeting that really disturbed me that I heard. I wasn't at the meeting here in person, but I heard it on the tape from a couple of our members of the board disputing paying for the little political forum that we had over to Regero's during the election. I found that one of the most disgusting comments that I've ever heard in my life as far as opening up what the people that were running for office, what their political views were, how they would react, what they would do running for office. That was open as a public forum for everybody that was running for public office in this township. I sat there, I was a participant of that meeting. It was a good meeting. It didn't turn into a debate because it was just more of a question and answering, because there was representatives, and a couple of them that sit on this board right now, that chose not to show up. Now, to me, as a taxpayer and as a person involved in the political system, not to have the decency to show up at something like that shows your disdain not only for running for public office, but for the residents that are out here. And then we go back into history, and members of this board blew a good building inspector out of this township for $200 worth of work boots that we couldn't afford. And that was fine and dandy. But yet when it came to having a public forum with representatives out putting their rear end on the line, why they were running, why that they wanted to run for office in Flint Township, to have the decency not even to show up was beyond my comprehension. Those people that did not show up for that public forum should be ashamed. Politics is not so much about me, me, me. It's about representing the township and the constituents in a way to make Flint Township better. And if that's going to be the attitude up here, that you just lay low, you don't even appear until after an election, and then we see you in operation up here, and you didn't even have the decency to tell the voters what you were running for, that is unforgivable. And I hope if they ever have a public forum out here again, I hope that never, ever happens again. If you're running for office, if it's an open forum, you ought to have the decency to be there. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? No? Alrighty, so we'll move on to reports. Supervisor's report. So, what's that? See? Oh, did I skip over it? I did.
Can't hear, is he?
We had a presentation from Carmen Ainsworth, superintendent. He's assistant superintendent.
Meeting until 6, I think 6:15.
Well,
He's probably on his way.
if you want to let him know that he can come and address the board when he gets here, it's fine. Other than that, we'll move on to reports. So, I wanted to remind everybody, it was brought up today about MTerra and the trash that they'll pick up. MTerra will pick up 2 large items every week. They like to have a phone call, so a mattress or a couch, they should pick that up. Sometimes they won't pick it up if they see that there's living bed bugs or things like that, and they won't touch it. They want it bagged. So if something's not picked up they're obligated to tag it, to let the resident know why they didn't pick it up. And if you need help in that, you can always call the township office. Rose's number, the receptionist's number is 810-732-1350. And if you have any questions on the quantity of items that they'll pick up, they won't pick up construction items. They want things bagged. If you have branches from a tree they want, or carpet rolls, they want them in less than 4 feet in length and tied. And also, everyone is given the opportunity to go out to the Brent Run landfill once a month. You can take 1,000 pounds out to that landfill. There's some qualifications, like you have to get the landfill pass from us here at the township, and you have to, I think you have to put a tarp over it when you go out. And there's certain hours, so it's best to check with Rose on that privilege, but it's free. It goes along with the contract that we have, and you could do that once a month. So if you have any questions about that, just give a call. I was asked about the auditor's report. I did hear the auditor's report. We had an unmodified report, and we ended with $4.8 million in our fund balance. And the personnel committee, made up of the supervisor, the clerk, and the treasurer, have met with the auditors before they started the audit and to hear the report after the audit. It was a draft of the audit presentation. So that meeting was at least an hour, wasn't it, before the presentation? So those auditors worked here from March until end of June, sometime in July. They're in and out. And we work closely with them because they have a lot of questions. Specifically, our controller works closely with them. So I am aware of what the audit says. I believe the clerk and the treasurer are aware of that too. And while it's not the greatest audit, it's not the worst audit either. And coming out of having lost all that money in the housing market crash, the auditors back then told us it would take us 15 years to achieve the level of funding, our revenue that we lost since then, and it's taken us about 15 years. So we're getting back to the level where we fell from. So while it's not a great audit, it was unmodified, which means the state receives it. We filed our F-65, and we have a deficit in our municipal street fund. We had to file a corrective action plan because the flagstone special assessment was run through there. We borrowed money from the sewer and water to pay the bill. Half of it's paid. The project was completed this week. The assessment for that project will go on the residents of Flagstone subdivision, their tax bills December 1st. They have the opportunity of paying the entire bill in October. If they don't pay it by the end of October, it will be assessed to their taxes. The board granted 15 years for them to pay that back, and once that's paid back, we'll recoup all our money. And we're waiting to hear from the state on if they accept the correction action plan or not. So I thought it was a pretty good audit. We have a really good controller. He works very hard to keep the records straight, and apparently he did a good job. That's my report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes. I'd like to report on our early voting, which will start October the 27th here at the township from 8 to 4:30. They will be voting here in this room. So if you would like to vote early, the 9 days will start October the 27th. We do have training starting for election officials, for election inspectors, September the 12th. One class is at 10 a.m., one is at 1 p.m., and we are trying to put a class together for the high school students and younger kids to get involved in the election process and knowing how that goes. So I think we have enough sign up to where we'll possibly have a class for them as well. I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Treasurer, do you have a report for us this evening?
Well, I'm going to share with you from Assistant Superintendent Mr. Parks. He is currently at the Monday Township Board meeting. He had them on his schedule tonight. He's apologized. He goes, I had you guys on the next board meeting, but he's at Monday and they don't start until 7. I said, you could get it as soon as he gets here. He said, I have you the next board meeting. He apologized.
We can do that. We can
He
put him on the
apologized.
schedule for the next board meeting.
He apologized for that.
That's okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I do have a couple things to talk about. Of course, I do have to pay the bills tonight, but I want to refer people back to some issues, some money, some things that are out there. We closed a couple accounts that were public safety accounts, and I looked to the 2 gentlemen, 3, 4, 5 gentlemen here. We had a couple of CDs at Huntington Bank that the Kevin and I had conversation about, that what happens is as the year comes to an end, we tend to run into a little financial issue, if you will, on the public safety side of a cash flow issue until taxes are starting to be collected into the first part of the year. So we closed 2 of the CDs out that were in that particular, and I mentioned that the last time. So they're done, the money's back in public safety, and it's being used. However, we have 3 other accounts with Huntington. Currently, they are, and Kevin and I looked through them again today, that currently they are at $250,000 each. What we requested, which wasn't happening, is that we requested that we close out the interest that's coming to them and ask that it be sent back to us each quarter so that it's not just a building on account. We have that interest in-house. And right now, we are looking at, on those 3 pieces, the first 2 quarters, we generated roughly, and that was the amounts that we were looking at today, we generated roughly $7,052.38 for the first 2 quarters, and we should generate with these others about another $3,000 coming up this 3rd quarter for each of those. The sweep accounts, well, let's jump back up. Dorp Federal. Dorp Federal is, first 2 quarters, we generated a little over $7,000, and the estimated, again, is right around the same amount as the Huntington Bank accounts, generating another $3,200 to $3,500 in interest earned that we wouldn't have had if we hadn't put it in there. The 3rd and final piece I want to talk to you guys about are the sweep accounts. Sewer and Water Fund has X amount of dollars. Those of you that were here for the budget, here to discuss how much was in the accounts, and that we are sweeping out at night at 8 o'clock the excess money that we have sitting in those accounts. That money is being swept, it's being mixed with other people's money, and it's earning a pretty substantial amount of interest. For the month of August, in the sewer and water alone, we generated $19,500, as of today, $19,540.48 in interest just in the sewer and water on that sweep account for the month of August. And the general fund, it's a less amount of money pulling out. It's $11,317.11. Now, all of these will be submitted, Tracy, to you. Kevin and I will be putting it all together tomorrow because we're waiting on 2 pieces from Huntington, so I don't have it ready to be handed to you tonight across the board. It's just being read from the conversations Kevin and I had this afternoon. So with those 2, just in the sweep accounts, you're looking at about a $30,000 interest earned in the month of August on those sweep accounts. If everything stays well, although if you were watching the news the other day, interest rates are probably going to go down 0.25%. It may have, and it probably will have an impact on these. The sweep accounts, not as drastic on the CDs because those CDs were locked in at the specific rates. The Huntington Bank CDs, they will come ready to renew in at the end of the month of October. So our rates, they've already said we might lose 0.25% on those. Okay, we know that's happening. The Dorp Federal accounts are good until November, the last day of November, on the renewals, and they're already asking, sent Kevin and I information, do you wish to continue these for another 11-month cycle? And I'm looking to lock in at the same or better rates if possible. So that's where we are with those.
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
You said there's 3 CDs at Huntington?
Yes.
How many CDs at Dorp, please?
2.
2, that's right.
Yep.
And then the sweep account, you're sweeping $3 million out of sewer and water?
We're sweeping out, well, the first part of that was between 2 and 3 million. That was based on their evaluation of what we could operate, and they did an evaluation of what we operate with on a regular basis over a 6-week period. Once they see this in a 90-day period, they have realized already that they're not taking enough out of our sewer and water, and they're not taking enough out of general fund every evening. They know that that they can take more money. So as they look at that for the month of, October or November, they would be able to pull more out because they're seeing that we don't need to have that much in the account.
So this first month that we had him in there, it was just a test to see how much we could,
It was minimal prior to this one. The July was only, I don't have that in front of me, but the July was minimal. This is a full month showing the $30,000, yes.
thanks, Tom.
Sure. So you said the renewal comes up when?
The renewal for the Huntingtons will be at near the end of the month of October. I'm pretty sure, and the Dorp Federals are the end of November. So I'll be able, and I'll have all that for you guys. We're just trying to put the dates all together so that everything falls, but we're concerned about where we are with the, because we're sitting with 1 month left in the third quarter. The full amount isn't there. Right.
Thank you.
I have a comment. And this isn't picking on you, Tom, but had that been done in January when you mentioned it, I wonder how much money we would have had today instead of just 30,000.
Had that been done years ago, and months ago, and weeks ago,
Well,
same scenario.
Well,
Agreed.
I've been on that for quite a few years, and the board seems to float over that, but I'm talking about what you stated in January, and that's all I'm going for. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Do we have any trustee reports? I'll start this end.
Two things. There's going to be a shred day coming up on September 26th at Grand Blanc Senior Center from 10 to 1. And you can get those paper bags if you need those. You can go to any senior center and pick those up if you need that. Also, we had a cleanup on Saturday. We only had 6. Everybody was an employee but 2. But we ended up with 10 bags of garbage. But I will tell you, the grass clippings are atrocious in the catch basins. It is really a problem. It is a huge problem.
Where were you guys?
We went from the city of Flint to River Valley, I think is what we did, on Beecher Road.
Beecher Road went?
What's the time on the
The shred is from 10 to 1.
Thank you.
And the senior center is off Holly Road on Pagel Drive.
What's at the Grand Blanc Senior Center?
Yes, Grand Blanc.
Trustee Papdal? Trustee Leverett? You have a report for us this evening?
All I'd like to say is that we've been putting those signs out for the littering. And it looks like, I don't know if the signs are too small or whatever, but it looked like the whole community is ignoring the signs and look like they put more trash down on the ground. So I advocate that we all pay attention to that, and we're going to be putting the rest of them out on all of the entrances to Flint Township about the littering. So.
And loitering.
Yeah, littering and loitering. It's been asked of me that it's causing a problem over at the Sam's Club. So that's the loitering part. And so they want to do something about moving the bus stops that MTA have located there. And I've talked with them, and so I've yet to talk with, I think it's going to have to go, I talked with code enforcement, but I think it's going to have to go to the police department. And I'll be talking with.
For loitering, Gene?
Right.
For loitering.
For the loitering. So I'll be talking to Chief Wagner about it. That's all I have.
Thank you. We'll move on to staff reports. Mrs. Tucker?
Just a few things. Tom, were you saying that you were gonna have a written report for,
Yes.
is that for the minutes?
Yes.
Is that what you're monitoring? Okay. And then, wanted to bring up, a few months ago, the Township Board approved, accepting a grant for the senior center. We have, posted for the, request for proposals.
Yep.
There will be a mandatory walkthrough on Tuesday, September 24th at 1 PM at the senior center. For any of those people that want to apply, and I just noticed in here there's a typo, but okay, we'll deal with that. But it's for improvements at the senior center, and we should be
So just a note on that is we have to work with the county because they are in the process of doing the environmental studies on all the projects that they've granted the senior centers throughout all of Genesee County. So we can't start the projects until they've finished with that. But that money was granted and they asked that it be spent by the end of the year. So because these environmentals have taken so long, it's coming down to the wire. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that.
Right, and then also we have 3 items on the Planning Commission agenda this week. And we have Bristol Road CIA meets tomorrow. Beecher Road CIA meets next Thursday. And then the DDA will meet the Thursday following. We have, basically they're doing their draft budgets for next year. That's the only thing that any of them have on their agendas right now. We're also, in the clerk's department, we should be getting ballots by the 18th. But we have to have them available for the public on the 21st, so working on that. Probably have an election commission meeting. Annie, did you say next week, we thought, or the week after for an election commission meeting? We'll let
Probably
you know though on that.
After the training.
And we are doing a meeting with our election chairs that we had in August and the ones we want to have for November to do a debrief on what happened in August. I mean, we didn't have any major problems, but there were a few minor things that we just want to make sure that that gets cleaned up. Other than that, it looks like everything was really good. The notes we got from the Board of Canvassers were, the largest note we had from them was something we asked for some information we wanted from them of what they would like to see in our AV book. We didn't have any issues with any of our precincts. Everything was certified as correct. But because we were doing the pre-processing and that's something new, and with the high speed, we wanted to make sure that we're setting up the book that we send them the way they would like to see it. That makes their job easier. So that was the biggest comment we got from them.
So, question on the November election. I know you mentioned it, Madam Clerk, but the county did a pilot program, right, with the transmitter and transmitting the election results. They're going to do that again for Flint Township so that our election results will be down to the county lickety-split, right?
Yeah, it takes, in fact, they left the transmitter with us. There were 3 municipalities that were scheduled to be a part of the transmitting. And we were one of the ones that was able to get it up and running and was successful at it. And it only takes maybe a few seconds to transmit. Once everybody close up the polling locations and come over, it only takes probably about 3 seconds to transmit the votes down to the county, so they are immediate.
That's very good. So, Mrs. Tucker, a couple more questions. There's a new sign to be seen at the corner of Miller Road and I-75. Can you make sure everybody knows about it?
Oh, yeah, we have the new sign at, in front of the veterinary clinic. We are working on the landscaping right now. We also will be taking the sign that was there, that's been refurbished at no cost to us by Creaney Signs. They're going to install that on Corona Road with the flagpole that was on Miller Road. And so that'll be going in shortly. We had to do some land balancing by the dive shop there. He's still got to do a bit more. I checked that today, and I'm not happy with. They need more. He leveled it out, but it needs to be raised up because the front of the land is higher than where they're going to put the sign. So we need to raise that up above. And he leveled it off, thinking that we just need it leveled. So I'll take care of that probably this week.
And that'll be landscaped also?
That's going to be landscaped as well.
And then the other sign that Mr. Leverett doesn't think is very well lit will be coming down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that'll come down once we get the new sign up. It will be, we're going to have some nice commercial grade solar lighting there for the sign. The flagpole already has lighting on it, so that'll be good as well. So we should be good. Again, this was a project done by the DDA, so There was no cost to, from the taxpayers' funds, so. Taxpayers.
Thank you. A couple more things. What was the name of it? What's the company that does the mowing on the freeway?
Anyway,
I saw them out there this last week. I think it was maybe Labor Day. They did a very good job. It looks very nice. They picked up all that trash, and then the next day, it appeared again.
Put it right back.
And I'm gonna be talking to the road commission, and I've talked to them verbally. I need to put it in writing, but it also requires MDOT approval to get a sign that says "Don't throw your trash on the freeway." But I know we try through volunteer efforts and through paying people to do it, and we can't keep up with it.
never-ending battle.
And then the last question I had was mentioned about tax abatements for businesses. Are there very many tax abatements that are out there right now?
We have the one for GFL, or ground effects, not ground effects. We have the one for the 100,000 square foot e-commerce. And we have the one for, PrintCom.
So, and how many businesses do you think we have roughly? 1,300 businesses? Okay.
Trying to think if there's anybody else out there. Can't think of it offhand.
I know I asked you right off. Yeah, thank you. We'll move on to Chief Wangler.
Thank you,
report
Board.
this evening.
Since the last board meeting on August 19th, the police department has responded to over 1,900 total calls for service. This number includes over 1,200 primary calls and approximately 700 backup calls for service. Over the same time frame, there were 28 instances where an officer responded to over 15 calls in one shift, and there was actually one day where one officer responded to 24 calls in one 12-hour shift. On August 26, 2024, we responded to northbound I-75 and Miller Road. A 58-year-old woman attempted to end her life by jumping off of the Miller Road overpass onto northbound I-75. Luckily, she was not struck by any passing vehicles. A witness helped pull her out of the roadway. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries and hopefully receiving the help she needs. On the 27th, a 20-year-old man was identified by our detectives. He was breaking into unlocked vehicles in various apartment complexes throughout Flint Township. He was taken into custody and later lodged at the county jail after being interviewed, and he did admit to his crimes. On the 28th, we responded to Burnell Avenue for the report of a man firing a gun in the air. Our officers arrived on scene and observed this man sitting in a chair with a pistol in his hand. He dropped the pistol when the officers gave him commands, and as we were approaching him, he actually began to reach for it again, to which our officers tackled him, were able to secure him. Multiple spent casings were recovered, and he was taken to the county jail. He is also a convicted felon. And then lastly, with great sadness, I unfortunately must let everybody know about the death of Flint City Officer Byron Norris. Byron actually began his police career with our department in February of 2022. He worked with us for approximately 4 months before leaving for the city of Flint. He passed away on September 5th, and his funeral services are tomorrow. And I have 2 items for the agenda.
He was young, wasn't he?
Well, he was 34.
It's really sad. And you and a couple of officers attended the visitation today?
Visitation today, yes.
Move on to the fire chief, Brett.
Too many B's. Thank you. Since the last board meeting on the 19th, the fire department has responded to 93 incidents. Included in this number is 7 structure fire calls, 4 vehicle fires, and 2 vehicle accidents with entrapment. Right now, year to date, we're at just over 1,000 calls for service. This number is actually a little off now, but as of this morning, we're at 1,009 calls for service, about 75 calls ahead of where we were year to date last year. For August of 2024, we responded to a total of 125 calls for service, and for those 125 calls for service, there's a total of 304 fire apparatus responses to these calls, or approximately 9.8 fire apparatus responses per day. So just under 10 per day times the fire apparatus responding to an incident. A few of the highlights, on the 27th, we responded to a commercial structure fire call in the 1100 block of River Valley Drive in River Valley Apartments. Fire crews arrived to find smoke on the second floor of an apartment. The initial reports from people on scene were that they weren't sure if somebody was inside of there. They haven't seen anybody come out. Luckily, fire crews made entry, searched the apartment, and quickly extinguished the fire, and the gentleman was not home. The cause of that fire was a bathroom vent fan that was left on. Just want to remind everybody, those fans are not made to run 24 hours a day. Turn them on for the purposes that they're there for, shut them back off. We have had several fires over my career for those fans that are just left on 24 hours a day. So just as a reminder, please turn those off. Many people don't know that. That's okay. On the 28th, we responded to a vehicle fire in the 2000 block of Noble, just down here on off of Corona Road. Fire crews arrived to find a vehicle almost completely involved in fire near the house. Luckily, due to the quick response of the firefighters here, we were able to contain that fire, and there was no damage out of the home. On the 30th, we responded to the 2300 block of Pearl Ann Street in the Myrtle Grove Mobile Home Park for a reported structure fire. There was one of the mobile homes inside of the park that was heavily involved in fire, and crews were on scene for a couple of hours extinguishing that. The cause of that fire is under investigation at this time as well. On the 8th, we responded to a commercial structure fire in the 3000 block of Miller Road at Miller West Apartments. Fire crews arrived to find smoke in the 8-story apartment building there. After investigating, it was found that a resident had actually lit incense in her apartment. After lighting it, her cat knocked them over onto oxygen tubing, creating a small explosion inside of the apartment. This also caught her air mattress on fire that was inside of the apartment. This person did not call 911 when this incident happened. It was nearby neighbors inside of the building that smelled smoke and heard the detectors that actually alerted 911. Luckily, the fire was pretty much out upon the arrival of the fire department, and all that was needed was to ventilate the building, remove some of the burnt objects outside, make sure that they were completely out, and she was seen by EMS for some burn injuries on scene. Again, please, if you have a fire, call 911, get the proper people there so we can make sure the fire is out, we can get the smoke out of the building, we can make sure that everything is safe. On September 5th, we partnered with ServPro and EFI Global to perform some live fire training evolutions in ServPro's parking lot just down here on Lennon Road. Thanks to ServPro and EFI Global, we were able to set up 3 different scenarios, which included a bedroom fire, an office fire, and a kitchen fire. These fires not only allowed some of our newer personnel to get hands-on experience extinguishing them, but also some of our fire investigators the ability to dig into what happened and actually see those fires from point A to when they were extinguished. This training, there was also just under 100 fire investigators, insurance adjusters, and multiple other people that were there as an all-day event. So we were just part of their day where they were able to witness these incidents and see what we do. So just want to say thank you to both of them. It was a great experience. Over the last few weeks, our fire personnel have been completing hose testing. So if you see us down here in the parking lot with hundreds and hundreds of feet of fire hose off the trucks, that's what we're completing. We'll be wrapping that up hopefully this coming weekend. With every inch of our fire hose that we has to be pulled off of each a truck and pressure tested, and then put back in service annually. So our crews have been working on that. And also our annual pump testing for all 6 of our firefighting apparatus was completed last week as well. So all of our fire trucks passed that successfully, so that's always nice. Couple more things here. Sorry, my report's a little lengthy tonight. I'd like to thank Michael Adams and Stamba & Sons Fire Suppression Company, who donated the time and materials to do some work on our training facility down here. Hook up our suppression system, our standpipe system we call it, which enables us to do some more training like we would in high-rise situations. So just want to thank them. They did donate several hours and some materials to help us get that in service. So thank you. On a little lighter note, Friday evening I'll be participating in Cooking with the Chiefs, located at Alga Credit Union headquarters in Grand Blanc. Tickets are still available for this event if anyone is interested, and the proceeds go to support Voices for Children Advocacy Center locally here. So I will be partnering up with Texas Roadhouse on Miller Road, and we're going to try to win this competition amongst about 10 other police and fire chiefs from our county. So come out and see us. And we do have one action item on the agenda this evening. And I do have a couple things in the building department, if you don't mind if I transition over there, just for a quick
The date and the time of that cookout?
Ooh, that's Friday the 13th from 5:30 to 8:30. Tickets can be found online, I believe, on their website, or I believe on Facebook as well. So If you have any questions, let me know and I'll get you the information.
Thank you.
Yep, and transition over to the building department here for just a second. Touch on rental inspections for August. There's about $10,425 worth of fees collected for the month of August, and 222 rental inspections were completed. The inspectors are currently focusing on landlords that have not yet complied with the program, complaints obviously that come in, and catching up on previously registered and paid units. There are about 50 left that have paid and have not been inspected yet, but most of those are due to scheduling conflicts that they're trying to work through at this point. In the building department in August, there was 95 permits issued for a total construction value of just over $828,000. In code enforcement last month, there were 559 enforcements issued throughout the township by the code enforcement officers. So they have been busy also. That concludes my lengthier report. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. John Whiteside's in the audience. He's got a report from our road advisory. Sorry we have to make you work or walk a little further.
Good evening, Township Board. John Whiteside, I'm the Secretary of the Road Advisory. We had a meeting earlier today. Mike Pfeiffer was there to give us a report on this year's projects. He did give us an update on the Flagstone project. He said Ace was finished in Flagstone on June 30th, but Diamond Excavating, who's a subcontractor to Ace, had some issues and they were about 2 months late getting done. So that's some of the reason there was delays there. In August.
It's completed though, right? He said today.
That was completed. In August, the Bronx area, the permazine treatment was put down. That's a project from last year where they did the limestoning and grading of the gravel roads in that area. And the permazine's a treatment we're trying new in the township. Other areas of the counties used it, and it makes the road last a lot longer, and it doesn't need the maintenance that most gravel roads need. So that was completed in August. We'll see how that goes, see how the road holds up, and then we can make further decisions about other gravel roads. In this year's projects, Trotwood Lane was one of the projects from Pickwick. It goes up around the corner and down to the other end of Pickwick. And we're going around the corner there about 275 feet south of that corner because that corner was bad too. So it's about 2,398 feet of roadway we're doing there. And we're also doing the Scottwood Avenue, which is off of Fenton Road. If anybody's seen it, it's like driving through a battlefield. It's just potholes. So we're doing Scottwood from Fenton Road down to Fenton Lawn, which takes you down to the school down there. Obviously, we're jumping over Otto because Otto's not being done. Both of them are supposed to start tomorrow. And the same contractor is doing it, so however they schedule their work. It's supposed to be done by September 30th, but Mike said it would probably go into a week or two of October. And the committee discussed some possible road projects for next year. Just briefly, we're going to dig into that further at our October meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it. Before we end reports, I just wanted to give a real quick update. On September 6th, I got an email from Joseph Lola. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He is the general counsel for NAMDAR. The board approved paying the $218,000 for the estimate to demolish Cinema 10, but NAMDAR has stepped up because they didn't want to pay the administrative fee, I believe, and they have signed a contract with Bernash Excavating, I believe. They had the asbestos inspection, came back, it was negative. There is no asbestos in that building. And they've initiated utility cutoffs, and the work should be starting soon. So Cinema 10 should be coming down soon, and they'll be paying for it. And then I wanted to make the board aware also, Myrtle Grove is a mobile home park located on Dayton. It became Green Gin, and now it is owned by Sapient. I don't know if anyone's ever been out there, but it's not a condition you want to live in. It's very, very poor living conditions in that mobile home park. We've been working with the police and fire and the attorney with the code enforcers, the rental inspectors, and our attorney. And recently, Mr. Deemers from Laura, the state of Michigan, came out to inspect the mobile home park and check on their license. They do not have a license. They did not pay their water bill. The water's been shut off since mid-August. They haven't paid their trash pickup. It's becoming overloaded with trash, as you can imagine, since they haven't been paying that. And it's just deplorable living conditions. And unfortunately, there are people who live there, a handful, not a lot, a handful, but we are seeking to evict people from that mobile home park because of the deplorable living conditions. And be working, I know I checked with you, Lieutenant Van Lente, as far as any help that we can offer to the residents for relocating, for any assistance at all. So we could talk more tomorrow, but we tried to serve the manager from this company, Sapient, and we were not successful. We're not going to court soon, and we are going a different route, but we are going to ask the judge to demolish that place because it's not fit for a dog to live in. And I know there's a couple people now living there in tents, so I want to let the board know there may be complaints because there is a handful of people still living there and they shouldn't be. And that's the last of the reports I had. Anyhow, we move on to any court payment of bills. Number 9, Mr. Treasurer.
Yes, thank you. Get my next page over. You should all received the request, or the statement and request, and I'm going to ask that the trustees, after you've received and reviewed, we have invoices in the amount of $441,978.79 authorized by the board's purchasing policy. In addition, we have tax distributions in the amount of $1,875,133.70. The total invoices and tax disbursements that I'm asking to be paid tonight are $2,317,112.49. And yes, that is my motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions on any bills? Any payments? Hearing none, we have a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $441,978.79. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Treasurer Cleave?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdahl?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we'll pay the bills.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. We move on to number 10, correspondence or informational items. Madam Clerk?
I have none.
Thank you. We have new business. Action item A, Chief Beckley.
Thank you. So as we all know, earlier this summer and really constantly for the last few years, we've been looking for on-call firefighter applicants to join our departments. Over the summer, we've received several applicants for this position. Your firefighters have gone through and interviewed, all of them, completed interviews, physical agility tests, background investigations, pre-employment physicals, drug tests, all of the usual stuff to bring a firefighter onto our departments. 6 out of the 7 have successfully completed all of these. One of them, we're just working through some scheduling issues, and we should have the paperwork back within a matter of a day or two, really. And with your approval, I'd like these candidates to attend the Genesee County Fire Academy starting in October 2024. That will run through probably May, I don't have the schedule yet, probably May of 2025. That will help them become certified firefighters. There is no cost of that academy to Flint Township, just the personnel costs, wages, things like that go towards it, and the protective equipment and all of that stuff that will have to be purchased. As we all know, our current on-call firefighter staffing is at 11 today. We actually lost one of our on-call firefighters to a full-time fire position last week, so we are down to 11 instead of 12. So adding these additional firefighters would be a huge step in the right direction. Of course, it's going to be a long time until they are trained, certified, and ready to help us, but we have to take this one step at a time, and this is the most candidates that we have seen in many years in this department. So with your approval, I would like the 6 candidates, and the 7th I would like to, obviously, once completed, I'd bring back to the Personnel Committee for approval if that is okay with you guys, to start effective immediately so we can begin the onboarding process and gear fitting and get them ready for the academy that starts in about 3 weeks.
Thank you. A motion would be in order to move forward.
We would move to accept Chief Beckley's recommendation and the letter he has since enclosed, along with the 7 candidates, 6+1, the final one getting her necessary information completed.
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion?
Question, I'm confused on what we're approving 6, and then 7th will be what?
This young lady, it's a woman, right, Haley?
Yes, it is.
They're completing her last pre-employment activity, so as soon as she finishes that, if she passes, then she would also be a part of it, correct?
That's correct. Yes, she applied a little later, so we're trying to catch her up to where everybody else was a little earlier in the process. So she is completed everything. We're just waiting on the official paperwork to come back from her onboarding stuff.
So the motion is for 6 or 7?
6 and the 7th one if she passes.
That's correct.
So I'm hearing what you're saying.
So
So
we-
the motion, may I?
Sure.
Your motion does state in here, I apologize, I hire 6 on-call firefighter candidates, the way the motion is stated. Haley being brought back to us in 2 weeks. If that's, and then does that get her in or not?
We'll be close. We can probably make it happen.
I think what he was asking was that he could just go to the personnel committee.
Come to us at
Final
personnel
approval
committee
on
and do
that
that?
one.
Do you have a problem with that you do?
Should be the board.
Okay. Well,
So just move her.
So 6 now,
Yep.
and at the next meeting, once she's completed, bring her.
Okay.
Thank
as
you.
quickly as possible. I
So
hear you, Barb, thank you. That
a
makes-
motion
that
for
makes sense.
6, the 6, yes?
Greg, you
Alrighty.
okay with that?
He's good. Any other questions or discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, for hiring the 6 candidates who have completed all the requirements for on-call firefighter.
Trustee Fabdahl?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Trustee King? Treasurer Clee?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Action item B is for Chief Wangler, although here in the board packet, it mentions your predecessor, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I did notice that.
I did too, 'cause that was gonna be-
There was an issue with the system, and Deb sent it to me after she had put them in, so I didn't realize it didn't change it, but yeah. So it should be right next time.
Thank you, Board. The building management system at the police facility has failed. This controls all of our HVAC within the building. We're currently at the mercy of Mother Nature for our temperature within the building itself. The building management system controls all those items, the boiler, the VAV boxes in the ceiling, as well as the rooftop units. This is a proprietary software. We've consulted several HVAC companies. The system was original to the building, which is now 20 years old, and nobody is able to service this system. We consulted a total of 6 different HVAC companies, 3 of which said that this was outside of their scope of work. One HVAC company didn't even return a call, so we had 2 companies provide a quote. Goyette Mechanical provided the lowest quote. They are also our preventative maintenance with the building. And I would ask the board to approve Goyette Mechanical to install new building management system, which would then give us heat and/or AC within the building.
We would move to accept Chief Brad Wangler's recommendation from Goyette Mechanical to install the new BMS at the police department in the amount of $54,700. This would be done, by the way, using the available ARPA funding, so it would be non-out-of-pocket or out-of-budget.
Is there a second to the motion? Any questions or discussion for Chief Wangler?
I was just gonna, if I might, I know that he's been running around trying to make it work. Just saying, at your height, maybe some fans or something that you waved.
Fans don't work, that's the problem.
No, that you waved around.
Alrighty.
We had that conversation the other day.
So we have a motion, a second. No
Yes.
further discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to repair the HVAC system with Goyette Mechanical in the amount of $54,700 using ARPA funds.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Burt.
Yes.
Trustee Fabdahl.
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Treasurer Clee.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Board.
Can I say something?
What did you have to say?
Brad, you chased it, both you and Matt. Thank you very much. We've had several conversations about making that work and reaching out to the other people in the community, even township businesses, and they all backed off. So
Correct.
thanks for your work.
Thank you.
We were involved in that.
Action item C, Chief Wrangler.
Thank you again, Board. In front of you, I have a proposal to purchase one 2024 Chevrolet Malibu for department use by the Flint Township Police Officer assigned to the Genesee Auto Theft Investigation Network, otherwise known as GAIN. This unit is a multi-jurisdictional task force administered by the Genesee County Sheriff's Office, which consists of 9 Genesee County police agencies. Their primary role is investigating auto-related crimes in Genesee County, but they also have further additional resources that can assist during high risk and complex situations. We are one of the longest tenured members of GAIN, having been a member since its inception around 1990. Funding for this position has been supported by an annual grant through the Michigan Automobile Theft Protection Authority, ATPA. They reimburse Flint Township 60% of our officers' wages and related equipment expenditures, including our flock license plate reader cameras here in the township. Historically, Genesee County has provided the vehicle. However, they have stated that they can no longer due to budget constraints. To continue our partnership in GAIN, we must purchase a vehicle for this officer to utilize. In addition to the 60% reimbursement for wages, the ATPA has approved a 60% reimbursement for vehicle-related expenses capped at $12,000. Lieutenant Van Lente received 3 quotes for this, with Shea Automotive Group being the cheapest quote, or the least amount. The vehicle is also going to require an installation of a 911 police radio. I would suggest using Procom, who is a Mount Pleasant-based business with a local facility here in Flint Township. I would ask that the board approve the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Malibu for use by our GAIN officer. I would request to utilize dollars in a restricted account within the police funds, which is actually an old posse account, which is a narcotics task force that is no longer.
Sure. So a motion would be in order to purchase this vehicle using the restricted funds, the old posse account, and that's going to cover the total, right? Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve this purchase for a total of $24,970 using the restricted funds from the posse account.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any further questions or discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to purchase the Chevy Malibu from Shea Automotive. I lost my place, in the amount of $24,000, was it $700?
$970.
$970?
Total.
Total from the posse account? Thank you.
Trustee King.
Yes.
Treasurer Clee.
Yes.
Trustee Burt.
Yes.
Trustee Leverett.
Yes.
Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Fabdahl.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Action item D is a homecoming permit.
We do have somebody here to talk. And you want to talk about the homecoming?
Oh.
Just give
you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi there.
Hi. My name is Mike Stewart, and this is my partner, Jennifer Malone. I'm a teacher at Carmen Newton High School, and we are the advisors for the e-board of our student council. We are here, first of all, to say thank you to everybody, and thank you to our people who protect us and serve us in our community. We are having our annual homecoming on October 4th. Football game is Friday night versus, it's in the packet, sorry. Who?
Bay City.
Bay City. So the football game is Friday night. We're having the parade that afternoon at 4:30. I have a packet here. I don't know if I should pass this around or for everybody. Anybody who would like to come out and watch the parade, or if you'd like to be in the parade, any businesses or even board members who want to participate in the parade, that'll start at 4:30. The parade starts at South Baptist Church on Vance Lake Road. They just redid their whole parking lot too, so it's beautiful. The homecoming dance will be at the high school on Saturday, October 5th at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 10.
Are you guys chaperones?
Say that again?
Are you chaperones?
Oh, of course, we're always there. So we are also, you want to talk about this, or want me to do it?
You can start, and
Okay.
and I can add, maybe.
There you go. So we are adding this year to our homecoming festivities the first ever 5K run and walk. We are having, this is going to kick off homecoming week. It's on Saturday morning, September 28th. We're going to start from the high school. We're going to run across Linden Road, not dodging traffic, I was going to joke, but we're going to run across Linden Road through the subdivision and on Dye a little bit and back through the subdivision and finish up back at Carmen Ainsworth High School. It's a perfect 5K, 3.12 miles, starting and stopping at the same place in the Carmen Ainsworth parking lot. We have about 30 people signed up already. We'd love to have more. We're trying to get some of our students involved. And we have a great group of kids in our student council who are working really hard to make this a great homecoming. And they'd be here tonight, but they're all working. They're all in sporting events and other clubs. And so we're here doing it for them. So
So the request is for a permit to close the road on Van Slyke, right?
For homecoming.
For homecoming through the Genesee County Road Commission permit. And then are you requesting to close the road up by the school for the 5K run?
We already requested.
They already
You guys
did that.
approved that.
Okay. Oh, that's right, yep. Mhm.
That one's done.
Alrighty, so a motion would be in order?
We would move to accept the recommendation and the presentation from Jen Malone, counselor at Carmen Ainsworth, and Michael Stewart, teacher at Carmen Ainsworth, as the directors of student council, for us to support the homecoming parade and allow this road permit to go forth.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Any questions or discussion? We have them here, you can ask any question you want.
Please ask us
Anything,
questions. We
please.
love questions.
yes, I'm running.
I'm
No, she's
directing. I would love to run or walk, but I'm directing. Somebody's got to supervise this show.
That's true.
Somebody's got to start the race. Who's doing that?
Some
I
guy.
think you are.
Thought I'd throw that out there.
So if there's no further questions or discussion, all those in favor of approving the homecoming parade permit through the Genesee County Road Commission signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? It stands approved. Thank you for
Very
coming
much.
and your patience this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Action item E is to ask the board to approve to have the attorney assist the clerk who will review the complaints against some elected officials and investigate if necessary. Motion would be in order to move forward.
Can you restate that?
Yeah, I'm asking the board, the attorney is looking for direction from this board. And the only way to do that is for us to give him direction by a majority vote. And the motion is to approve the attorney to assist the clerk, who will be the point person, the contact person. They'll review the complaints against some elected officials and investigate if necessary.
I accept, and motion has been made, and now we have to,
So you're making the motion on that?
in the motion that we do it
That we do it? Is there a second to the motion?
as read.
Thank you, Jean. Well, we need to give him some direction. I'll second the motion. Any questions or discussion? No? All those in favor of approving the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You know, since I didn't hear everybody say aye, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Leverett.
Yes.
Trustee Burt.
No.
Trustee Fabdahl. No. Treasurer Clee.
No.
Trustee King.
No.
Supervisor Miller.
Yes. Except for, 1, 4, 5, yeah.
And
Except for you.
Clerk Triplett. Yes.
Well, it fails, so we'll let the attorney no go. And the next meeting will be September 23rd. And if there's no further business, and with that objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.